Spiral, dial. Sci-fi with a soundscape.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
Be still and know that I am God.
Be still.
I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. Patricia sang those familiar words again and again. Jessica felt a chill run through her. There was something unsettling about her voice, although she could not put her finger on what it was. Patricia stood alone. Jessica expected at any moment some dreadful apparition. Memories of Archie on the cross came back to her, so vivid that they made her wince. She grabbed his hand and held it tight. His fingers felt limp in her grasp. She looked at his face. It was vacant, staring at Patricia, slack-jawed. An unearthly chorus joined Patricia in her singing. Where could it be coming from? Jessica looked around her, trying to identify where the choir was sitting, before realizing that the voices were coming from the babies themselves. Every one of them had their mouths and eyes open, bright blue eyes, the same color as Archie's. How could such a resonant sound come from such small beings? A sharp tingle in her neck shocked her. She dropped Archie's hand, rubbing the sore spot.
"Sister,"
Pyrope said,
"what is that awful racket?" "I can't talk,"
Jessica whispered. "I'm in church."
"Well, get out of there at once. The vibrations are all wrong. I can feel a dangerous resonance coming. Get out!"
Jessica looked around. The door lay behind her, only a couple of feet away. She grabbed Archie's hand again and started to edge backwards towards the exit. He did not resist, stepping back as one with her. But he remained oblivious to her gestures. The choir sang higher and higher. Jessica could feel something vibrating within her. It was not painful exactly, but it was tense. It felt as if something might snap inside her.
"Hurry, sister!"
She turned tail and rushed through the door, dragging Archie with her. Just as she did so, the song stopped, and with it the tension inside her. She breathed a sigh of relief. "Let's get out of here and get rid of that damn watch." Archie looked at her, expression unreadable. "Come on, Archie, we have got to get out of here. Find the radio." She pulled at his hand. "Quickly, before Patricia comes after us." He looked at her, frowning. His eyes looked different somehow. Unfamiliar. It was as if she were a complete stranger to him. He clasped her hand between his. "I know it can seem like you know me when I'm on stage, but I can't really stop to chat right now. I'm late for sound check. You must excuse me." He dropped her hand and turned away from her. "Wait, don't you remember me? He turned. Of course, darling. I see your face in my dreams every night. My fans are the only thing I live for. He raised his arm to her face. Did anyone ever tell you that you look just like a pre-Raphaelite painting? The most beautiful green eyes I've ever seen. Shocked, she stepped back from him. Just as she did, the doors behind her opened and a rush of people emerged. All of the people that she remembered, white-haired ladies, crew in their uniforms, all the hustle and bustle of the ship was restored just like that. It was as if it had never been silent. As she looked around her, in disbelief, Archie disappeared into the distance. Toodaloo, darling. See you at the show tonight. Don't be late. She followed the crowd back to the deck. No one spoke to her or met her eye. Some nodded as she passed them, but they exchanged no words. Where should she go? Automatically, she returned to her cabin, where she found a familiar-looking box atop her bed. It contained a brand new watch. The box was inscribed with the words, "Welcome to Spiral Dial, Doctor." She sat down heavily on the bed. How could this be? She had seen the Hall of Babies with her own eyes. She had travelled through the earth itself, and yet now everything had returned to normal.
They are asleep, sister,
Pyrope said. Pyrope! The thin voice came as a huge relief to Jessica. You exist.
Of course I exist, sister. What made you think otherwise?
I thought perhaps that you were a figment of my imagination.
We are all one with the earth, sister,
Pyrope said, patiently.
As I keep telling you, figments are not important. Only the earth is important. We are all the same. One earth, one song, one sound.
That's all very well, Jessica said. But what about Archie? Why doesn't he remember me?
I told you, sister. He is one of the dust people. They are all asleep. They will not see. And you must pretend not to see either until we are on the earth once more. This place is not safe for us.
Jessica sighed. She didn't need a talking mineral to tell her the mess that she was in. Archie hadn't been much of an ally, but at least he had been human. Without him, she felt isolated. She was trapped on this ship, trapped in an unfamiliar body with maniacs whose motivations were unknown to her. Perhaps not unknown. What had Archie said? Patricia was expecting the last days to come. She went through the signs. Flood? It was a possibility. War? She wasn't sure if those subterranean tussles counted as war. Plague? There hadn't been anything approaching a plague, unless you counted Amy's mysterious illness. A knock at the door. Doctor, I need your help. A friend of mine's not well. A faint but familiar Australian twang filled her ears. Could it be? Come on in, she said, opening the door. There was no mistaking the figures who stood before her. And, in a fresh uniform, a curvaceous blonde with golden hair shining bright in the sunlight, concealing one side of her face. It was none other than Amy